Hey everyone, I am here. The Last Laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go. My name is Olivia Carter, and the day my father died, I thought I lost everything. Not just him, but my entire future. Because when the will was read, every single dollar, every property, every asset went to my younger sister. And I got nothing. No explanation, no apology, not even a reason. Just one cold sentence from the lawyer. Your father believed this was fair. Fair? After everything I did for him. After I was the one who stayed, the one who sacrificed, the one who gave up my career to take care of him while my sister disappeared for over a decade. He gave it all to her? The same sister who hadn't visited him in 12 years? That's when I realized something wasn't just unfair. Something was very, very wrong. I remember sitting there completely frozen. My hands were shaking, but I didn't say a word. I just stared at the documents in front of me, trying to make sense of something that made no sense at all. And then I looked at my sister. She didn't look shocked. She didn't look emotional. She didn't even pretend to be sad. She smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a grateful one. A knowing one. That's when my stomach dropped. Because suddenly, all the strange things from the past few months started coming back to me. The late-night phone calls. The closed-door conversations, the way my dad would suddenly go quiet whenever I walked into the room. And one night, the one moment I kept replaying in my head, I had passed by his bedroom and heard her voice, low and calm. Just sign it, Dad. She'll never know. At the time, I froze outside the door. I didn't go in. I didn't ask questions. I convinced myself I was imagining things. I told myself I was being paranoid. But now I knew. This wasn't just a will, this was a setup. Before I tell you what I discovered next, drop your city in the comments and make sure you're subscribed. Because what happened after this completely destroyed my sister's plan, and she never saw it coming. After the meeting ended, everyone slowly left the room. The lawyer gave me one last awkward look, like he wanted to say something but didn't have the courage to. My sister walked past me like I didn't exist. "Take care, Olivia," she said casually, as if she hadn't just taken everything from me. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because in that moment, something inside me changed. I wasn't heartbroken anymore. I was suspicious. That same night, I went back to my father's house. Technically, it wasn't mine anymore, but my sister hadn't moved in yet, and I still had the keys. The house felt different. Empty. Cold. But I didn't go there to grieve. I went there to find answers. I started with his office. My dad was always organized, almost obsessively so. Every document had a place, every file labeled perfectly. But something was off. Drawers that used to be full were now half empty. Folders were missing. And the safe was open. I stood there for a moment, just staring at it. My father never left that safe open. Not once in my entire life. Slowly, I walked toward it. Inside, there were only a few documents left. Insurance papers, old contracts. But the most important files, the ones related to his assets, his properties, his accounts, gone. My heart started pounding, because now it was obvious. Someone had been here before me, and I already knew who. I didn't leave. Instead, I went to the one place I knew my sister would never think to check, the basement. Growing up, that basement was off limits. My dad kept old boxes there, things he never threw away. It was dusty, cluttered, and completely forgotten. But I remembered something. Years ago, when I was helping him clean, I saw him hide a small metal box behind one of the old shelves. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Now, it felt like the only lead I had. It took me almost 20 minutes to find it. My hands were covered in dust, my heart racing with every second. And then, I saw it. Still there, still hidden. I pulled it out slowly, like it might disappear if I moved too fast. The box was locked. Of course it was. But I knew my dad. He always used the same combination. My birthday. With shaking fingers, I entered the numbers. Click. The lock opened. Inside, there were only a few things. A flash drive, a small stack of papers, and an envelope with my name written on it. Olivia. My breath caught in my throat. I picked up the envelope first. My hands were trembling as I opened it. Inside was a letter. My father's handwriting. I hadn't seen it in months. And as I started reading, everything around me faded. Olivia, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to explain everything to you in person. I'm so sorry. I know what this looks like. I know how it must feel. But I need you to understand something very important. The will is not real. Or at least, not the one I wanted. Your sister forced my hand. She threatened me. Not just with words, but with something that could destroy everything I built and everything I tried to protect. I didn't have a choice. But I also didn't leave you with nothing. Everything you need to expose the truth is right here. Trust no one, not even her. I love you, Dad. By the time I finished reading, my vision was blurred with tears, but I wasn't crying from sadness anymore. I was angry, because now I knew the truth. My father didn't betray me. He was forced. And my sister? She didn't just steal my inheritance. She manipulated him, threatened him, destroyed him. I wiped my tears and grabbed the flash drive. Whatever was on it, this was the detail she forgot, the one mistake that would cost her everything. I didn't go home. I went straight to the one person my sister didn't expect, the lawyer, the same one who read the will. When I walked into his office the next morning, he looked surprised. Olivia, I didn't expect to see you again so soon. I didn't sit down. I didn't smile. I just placed the flash drive on his desk. You need to see this. He hesitated. Then slowly, he plugged it into his computer. What played next changed everything. Video recordings, multiple files, dates stamped, and in every single one, my sister. Arguing with my father, threatening him, blackmailing him. You sign everything over to me, or I release this. What do you want from me? My dad's voice sounded weak, broken. I want what's mine, she said coldly. No, this isn't yours. Then I guess everyone finds out what you did. Silence, and then, fine. The room went completely quiet. The lawyer leaned back in his chair, his face pale. This changes everything. I looked him straight in the eyes. No, this exposes everything. Within a week, the will was challenged in court. The evidence was undeniable. The recordings, the letter, the missing documents. My sister tried to deny it at first. Then she tried to twist it. Then she tried to blame me. But it didn't matter, because the truth was stronger than all her lies. In the end, the court ruled in my favor. The fake will was declared invalid. Everything was restored. Every asset, every property, every account. But the real moment, the one I'll never forget, was when my sister looked at me outside the courtroom. For the first time, she wasn't smiling. She looked scared. You ruined me, she whispered. I stepped closer, my voice calm. No, you did that to yourself. And then I walked away, not as the girl who lost everything, but as the woman who took it all back. Because in the end, she stole my inheritance, but she forgot one detail, the truth. The day after the court ruled in my favor, I thought it was over. I thought the nightmare had finally ended. The house was mine again. The accounts were restored. My father's name had been cleared. And my sister? She was gone. Or at least, that's what I believed. For the first time in months, I woke up without that heavy weight in my chest. The silence in the house didn't feel cold anymore. It felt peaceful. But peace doesn't last long when the truth is only half uncovered. Because 3 days later, I found something that made my blood run cold. It started with a phone call. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something told me to pick it up. Olivia Carter? A man's voice asked, low and serious. Yes, who is this? My name is Daniel Reeves. I worked with your father, a long time ago. I frowned. My father didn't have business partners. He worked alone. There was a pause. Then he said something that made my heart stop. Not everything your father did was in the open. Silence filled the line. What are you talking about? I asked slowly. I think we should meet. Every instinct in my body told me to hang up, but something deeper, something stronger, told me this was connected. Where? I asked. That evening, I met him at a quiet cafe on the edge of the city. He was older, maybe in his late 50s. calm, careful, the kind of man who chose his words very wisely. He didn't waste time. "I watched the trial," he said. "You did the right thing." "I didn't do it for justice," I replied. "I did it for the truth." He nodded slightly. "Then you deserve to know the rest of it." A chill ran down my spine. "The rest of what?" He leaned forward. "Your father wasn't just protecting his assets from your sister." My stomach tightened. "He was protecting you." I froze. "From what?" Daniel reached into his bag and pulled out a folder. Thick, sealed, heavy. He placed it in front of me. "Before he died, your father came to me. He said if anything happened to him, or if things went wrong with your sister, I should give this to you." My hands didn't move. I just stared at it, because suddenly, I wasn't sure I wanted to know. "What's inside?" I whispered. His expression didn't change. "Everything your father was afraid of." I swallowed hard. Slowly, I opened the folder. Inside were documents, old records, photos, and one name, repeated over and over again. A company I had never heard of, but something about it felt wrong. "What is this?" I asked. Daniel exhaled slowly. "This is the reason your sister had power over your father." My heart started racing again. No, that doesn't make sense. She was never involved in his work. She barely even talked to him. "That's what he wanted you to believe." The words hit me harder than anything else. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying your sister didn't just show up after 12 years for no reason." The cafe suddenly felt too small, too quiet. "Then why did she come back?" I asked. Daniel looked me straight in the eyes. "Because someone sent her." Everything inside me went still. "Who?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he pointed at the folder. "It's all in there, but you need to be careful, Olivia. This doesn't end with your sister." I felt it again, that same feeling I had in the lawyer's office, that something much bigger was happening, that I was only seeing a small part of the truth. I took the folder and left without saying another word. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my father's office, the same room where everything had started, and went through every single page. And the more I read, the worse it got. My father had been involved in something I never imagined. Not illegal, but dangerous. He had evidence, records, proof of financial corruption involving powerful people. People who could lose everything if the truth came out. And somehow, my sister got access to it. Not by accident, not by chance, but by design. She wasn't just greedy, she was used. Or worse, she was part of it. My hands were shaking by the time I reached the last page, because at the very bottom, there was a note, handwritten, not by my father, but by someone else. "If she doesn't cooperate, remind her what happened last time." My breath caught in my throat. Last time? What did that mean? And more importantly, who wrote it? That's when I realized something terrifying. This wasn't over. Not even close. My sister wasn't the end of the story. She was just the beginning. And whatever my father had been trying to protect me from was still out there, watching, waiting. I looked around the house, suddenly feeling like I wasn't alone anymore, like every shadow meant something, like every sound was a warning. For the first time since the court case, I felt afraid. But this wasn't the kind of fear that makes you run. This was the kind that makes you fight, because now, they had taken my father. They had tried to take my life, and if I walked away now, they would win. I closed the folder slowly. My decision was made. I wasn't going to hide. I wasn't going to pretend none of this existed. I was going to finish what my father started, no matter what it cost me. Because this time, I wasn't just fighting for an inheritance. I was fighting for the truth. And whoever was behind this was about to realize one thing. They picked the wrong daughter. I didn't go to the police, not yet, because deep down, I knew this wasn't something they could handle quietly. The people behind this had power, connections, influence that could bury the truth again. So I did what my father couldn't. I exposed everything. every file, every recording, every name. I sent it to journalists, investigators, people who couldn't be silenced. And then I waited. It didn't take long. Within days, the story exploded. Arrests were made, accounts were frozen. Faces that once looked untouchable were suddenly everywhere, on screens, in headlines, falling apart. And my sister? She tried to run, but this time, there was nowhere left to hide. The last time I saw her, she didn't look angry. She looked empty, like she finally understood what she'd destroyed. I didn't say anything, because there was nothing left to say. In the end, my father was right. The truth doesn't just set you free, it destroys everything built on lies. And this time, it finished what we started.